Produced by Victoire.
Welcome back, everybody. Seekers of the Truth to Power and Glory, the podcast. I'm one of your co-stars, the Master Emir, joined by my co-star, ladies and gentlemen. He is a former WWE superstar. He is a cheesecake maker extraordinaire. He is a celebrity TV show superstar, megastar in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mario Mancini.
Nice to see everybody here on this Friday evening on the beach in East Haven, Connecticut.
Is that a sandy beach right there, Mario?
It is a sandy beach.
Damn.
It is.
Wow.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
What's the temperature right there? Because you look rather chilly.
60s.
I think it's about 62.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's about right.
Yeah.
You're 62. We're 92 out here in the desert. Yeah.
God.
Man.
I'm still sweating. I have a fan on me as we speak, Mario, cooling me down. So plus AC going in the house. So, but before we begin, let's remind our viewers, do not forget, smash that subscribe button. Smash it, hit the like, share with your friends and family, and consider becoming a member. Join us in our members section only. Of course, you'll only find that on our TV version or computer version of the channel. So don't try looking for it on your phone because for some reason YouTube will not have the join button there. That's where you'll find our exclusive, dare I say, R-rated content, Mario Mancini. So we're going to have another episode on there for you this week, so make sure you check that out. But this episode, Mario, I want us to go in the future. I want us to project ourselves with our opinions of where we think wrestling is going to go. All right? This is an interesting topic. So Mario, with the current trajectory of how things are evolving with branding, social media, whatnot, all these independent companies, where do you think wrestling is going to go, let's say 15 years from now?
Well, let's really talk about it. Let's see. 15 years ago, that was 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Where was wrestling then? I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It could become extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Amir, you know what really gets me?
What's that, Mario?
Why have human beings anymore?
Very true.
When you can make these enormous fictional characters out of AI.
Yeah, very true.
And put them in the ring. Why even have human beings anymore?
You bring up a good point, Mario, because think about it. If you created a great AI program of pro wrestling, you could bring back figures from the dead too if you really wanted to. And if you sold that to a distributor, that's it. That's all. You don't need fans anymore. You don't need live events anymore.
No.
Wow.
No.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The wrestling itself has evolved so much. Like when I look back at the 50s and 60s, I mean, to watch a 30-minute match, 17 minutes of it could be a headlock takedown. I get that back in the 50s and 60s. So to us, to those guys, when we came out in the 80s, they're like, oh, they're doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, for us guys from the 80s to watch it now, what do you think we think? This stuff is what no one would ever think of this stuff back in the 80s. So wrestling has evolved so much over the past 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
To look 15, 20 years ahead, I mean, are there going to be human beings? Are they going to be real people? Or, is it going to be just AI? Isn't that 100% profit? I mean, you don't even have to pay people.
Exactly, Mario. That's what I was thinking. It's 100% profit. There's no liabilities whatsoever, no travel expenses, no arenas being booked. You create the whole thing. And this is the thing, Mario. This is where I find that people are very odd. They're championing the idea of AI. They're using, I refuse to use AI. That's just me personally. I don't care. I don't want to use it. I'd rather be a human being and try and create things with my own thoughts and my own effort and energy. But people are championing, especially the youth. And I don't think they realize what they're doing. They're championing something that's going to make them obsolete and take away their jobs. That's it. I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like, I personally, I wouldn't like to be a 10-year-old living in the year 2025 with what
Oh no.
awaits me. No.
Oh
Um,
no. Oh no. I thank God I was 10 years old in 1976.
yeah.
5.
Everybody, just so you know, that voice you may hear off camera is Mario's daughter. We keep her off camera. She's a bigger mega star than Mario, so we're keeping her off camera for now. All right. So, but,
So it's there's endless possibilities, and the public would buy into it. I mean, they love the characters. They would buy into it. I mean,
Mhm.
um, you have, and you're right, Amir. You have some beloved, and there would be a wrestler for every generation. You can bring back, you know, Bruno Sammartino. You can bring back Bob Backlund. You can bring back The Undertaker. You can bring back Stone Cold. Now, as far as that's concerned, they probably wouldn't do that because unless they own the rights to the name, because they would have to pay somebody. So they would just come up with different names, different characters, and the public would buy into that.
They would, and these kids wouldn't care because they're so used to it already.
Listen, I'm with you. A big thing is GPT.
Yeah.
I can't use that because to me, you know what? It's like put your brain to sleep. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I can't do that. I mean, you're talking to somebody in that went to law school that they walked us into the library and they said you have to find the cases that are common to this case. And we had to walk all over the library and go through all different volumes of books just to find, 4 cases that were similar to this. It took like an hour and a half to do that, the whole class time to do that. And that's the exercise to get you going, to give you knowledge of how to research so you do it yourself.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me pull a Big Daddy. Everybody wants to rely on that. What if they hit the power grid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your brain doesn't work. You don't know how to do things for yourself. You can't go into books
Yeah.
because you're just used to going into Chat GPT or something else. Big Daddy always says, I mean, it's they're going to hit the grid. They're going to hit the grid. They hit the grid. We're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you got to be able to fend for yourself.
And it takes 90 days to break a habit. So, 90 days after that grid goes down, what the heck are people going to do? That's 3 months. That's a long time before their natural faculties can kick back in. But let's dive a little bit further into that. So let's just say, okay, how does one get ahead of the curve then? If we think it's going in this direction, wouldn't it be a good idea for wrestlers to perhaps create an AI character and then maybe, well, no, even then, because you could copyright it and all that, but then you could make 1 million more. It doesn't matter. So really, it's a cancer that's just going to spread.
Right.
That's a terrifying thought. I never thought we'd go here. I honestly thought we were going to go somewhere else, but yeah, you're right. 15 years more of AI, I think it's game over. I think Vince McMahon and smart business people like that would just say, okay, well, I'll let the computer program create my WrestleMania. Why?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn. So, so on that note, Mario, what would you suggest to pro wrestlers coming up in the ranks today? Now, bearing in mind, let's just say hypothetically that guarantee is going to happen. How would you have these wrestlers pivot? Is there a career path left for them?
Well, yeah, there's always smaller companies. And there's always independent pro wrestling. So I mean, we're talking about major multi-billion-dollar companies that can do stuff like that on a smaller scale. I think people still be wrestling and people still be going to wrestling shows. I'm only talking on a large scale.
Yeah.
But could they compete with that? I honestly think everything should go in reverse.
Hmm.
I think they should bring back old school wrestling. I think they should bring back old school storylines. I think they should revive the wrestling business instead of, blowing it into oblivion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that, Mario, because I'm not a fan of turning pro wrestling into a video game. I'm in a fan of telling true stories with true characters, And again, pro wrestling is a fight. It's a fight between good and evil. It's not a gymnastics act. It's
Right,
I often say this, it's not Cirque du Soleil, right?
right,
So,
right,
and I think that I'm with you on that. I think if anything, the evolution should be a step back into the past
right.
because we've gone too far. Have you seen some of these nutcase matches that they've put out lately? Some of the violence, the ridiculousness of them?
Yes. Rome has been sending them to me. Yeah.
Oh, he has? What are your thoughts on some of that?
Stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Total
Just,
stupid.
just stupid. You're talking to a guy that was raised by Strongbow.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And you're talking to a guy from an era that if you didn't work, you didn't get paid. There was no guarantee. And what these guys are doing is they're not getting weekly paychecks from. This is like, backyard wrestling, only it's not in the backyard. I mean, what they're doing is ridiculous. I'm watching guys go through plate, glass with barbed wire and all this other stuff. And, doing all this stuff, 15, 20 feet in the air and taking bumps on foot. You are out of your mind.
Yeah.
That's not pro wrestling.
No.
That's not pro wrestling.
No, it's falling to me, Mario, and I don't know if you agree with me on this. It's falling into the sadomasochist world at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah, and I,
Yeah.
and I think that's the audience that those sort of people are going to draw. It'll be almost like an underground thing. It's almost like adult movies. I think it'll fall into its own category eventually. But it's a sad thing, and it's bleeding into the mainstream as well. Because back in the day, occasionally you see a Cactus Jack Mick Foley match that was, yeah, okay, they had the steel cage and stuff like that, the chairs. But I don't remember Vince ever bringing in barbed. Even if he did the barbed wire, it wasn't to the degree that some of these places are going. It was like wrapped around a bat, and they never really hit him with it. It was kind of like they just kind of missed their heads and stuff. But yeah, I think it could go in that barbarous direction. In fact, maybe that's the type of wrestling that will thrive at that point. But do you think the guys that do that is because they really don't have talent to do the other stuff, or they're just lazy?
You know what? I don't know if they have the talent to do the other stuff. I wouldn't necessarily call them lazy. I would think the way they're doing it is if I do this stuff, I'll get recognized more.
Right.
And for the true pros that are looking at this stuff, it's unnecessary risk, and you're risking your life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're risking getting into a wheelchair for what? What do you get paid that night? I
Yeah.
mean, what are you doing that for? I mean,
$75. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, do they want to turn pro wrestling into oh my God. Uh Richard Dawson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura,
The
uh
running man, the
the
running man.
running man. They want to turn pro wrestling into the running man? Is that what they want to do? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But to close out this segment, do you ever think we'll see the type of wrestling that you and I respect, that you and I love, that you and I are trying to keep alive? Do you think that will ever come back in the mainstream?
In the mainstream, because I was just going to say, yeah, come tomorrow night to Armada Brewing Company and you'll see Paradise Alley. You'll see it. But mainstream,
Okay, no, not a chance. Well, let's do a little plug for Paradise Alley then, if you will, Mario, because obviously this episode will go out after the shows happened. But have you got any other shows coming up for anybody up in the Connecticut area?
sure, we got October 18th coming up at Paradise Alley at 662 Co Avenue. Um, we have Friday Night Alley fights coming up in November. On November, is that November 18th or 19th? Gonna have to check the website on that one. But we have Friday Night Alley fights are alive and well, and we have those shows coming up. We have our Mania coming up in November, so hopefully that'll be a pretty big show.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to see true professional wrestling, class professional wrestling, by individuals that have been trained by Mario Mancini, Paul Roma. Who else is on your training team, Mario? Who else
We
trains?
have Paul Perez and our silent partner Big Steve Tracy, who's more of a harsh kind of trainer. That's why he doesn't show up a lot because yeah, he puts fear in people.
As he should, Mario.
Yeah.
As he should. So if you're interested, go and check out Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Mario, we're going to put a link in the description of the video. I think we're going to do that moving forward because we need to push that as much as we can. So anybody up in the Connecticut area, New York area, maybe even as far as Canada, what's the border right there near Montreal? They can make
Yeah.
the trip down.
Yeah.
Go and see some Paradise Alley. Mario and I will be back with another free, oh, actually, no, a members only episode this week. So make sure that you join. Go on your computers or TV screen where you'll find the join button on our main page. But if you're just watching here on the freebie section, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share with your friends and family. It helps the algorithm get us out to more people. And remember, we want to be the #1 wrestling podcast on the planet. So if you want to be there with us, you need to smash that subscribe button. Until the next one, everybody, this has been Power and Glory, the podcast.